that, these are big questions, and I just, recently applied for a big sort of high grant. And this is basically the question that I was trying to get at. And the way that I think about it is I want to take the evolutionary view. I am generally of the belief that humans aren't as special as we think we are. We just notice what we do more because it's us, right? But I like taking the evolutionary view, and I think that we can learn a lot by taking a massive step backward and look and sort of up and out and look at species like octopuses where they are radically different from us in many, many ways. And yet they are also very adaptable. They can live at massively different temperatures compared to what we can survive in. They, have taken over the entire ocean. There, lots of different species. They're very, and they learn from their environment, and they seem to have these abilities. But we don't know if they have critical periods, if they have, they might not, right? So like they can lose an arm and regrow it. So they might not have a motor critical period, because why would you need one if your arm can always grow back, right? On the other hand, we have some evidence that they can, mostly they're asocial, but in some species, if you rear them under social conditions, they can adapt and be socially tolerant and not, kill all of the other animals in the tank, right? And so they do have this adaptability, but it might be that this human sort of adaptability, the reason that we're so interested in being able to reopen critical periods, either by drugs or by religious practices, is because we live for a really long time, right? So, the rules of the world that you learned when you were 12 might not be the same as when you're 65. And so I think it's not that surprising that, people have a midlife crisis and oftentimes go on some religious experience, some pilgrimage, and they reset because they need to adapt to a world that's very different than the one that they, adapted to when they were children. So we'll see. Octopuses don't live that long. There are some species that do, but the ones that we're interested in, live shorter, more like mice. And so, we'll see, but it's definitely an exciting question.
Yeah. It is interesting that deprivation is a stimulus that reliably induces certain changes in the brain and in experience. It's doubly interesting that it's sort of a major thing that most of us are lacking these days. Most of us, we're constantly plugged into all of our technology, and we're hyper connected. And it's interesting that deprivation is, it seems to be capable, at least in certain contexts, of mimicking some of the pharmacological effects that we're talking about here.
Yeah, well, I do actually believe that the pandemic was a massive deprivation experiment, although it went on too long. And so, if you socially deprive animals for too long, then instead of reopening critical periods, it looks like what it's doing is causing depression and anxiety. So like the duration matters, right? But it's just become the new thing.